Hey guys, this is Vol. Welcome to 8th edition. Welcome to the first battle report that I'm going to do on 8th. It's Orcs and Goblins versus Skaven. You might remember these Orcs and Goblins from our recent Orcs versus Ogres battle report, and probably Orcs versus Empire, probably last year, I think. And my opponent for this game is Amy, and she's using the Skaven army. We've both collectively been working on them, assembling them and painting them, and they're sort of just about tabletop ready. Obviously, not even 50% done yet. They've got a lot of work to go before they're really looking good. But this is what's happening here. There's a bit of light in the room for the photography, but generally I've deployed all of the Orcs right in the center of the battlefield and some cavalry on the flanks. And Amy's gone for a massive surge of rats right through the middle, and the Doom Wheel right on the corner there. So it should be a really big brawl. We're using the 8th edition rules for this game, and one thing that will probably not be much different is magic, just in terms of the spells, because we don't have access to the new spells available, considering that we're Orcs and Skaven, Orcs having to choose the War magic and Skaven having to choose the Skaven magic. But we'll be using the new rule for generating magic and dispel dice, power dice and dispel dice. And obviously with so many ranked infantry units, things are going to be a bit interesting. There are no horde type units on the battlefield. I haven't really organized that yet. Maybe in later games we'll see some big units of 10 wide cranking that out. But just for now, getting into it. Obviously, Amy being a new player, just getting her head around the rules. Same with me, having only sort of read through the rules a couple of times and figuring things out as we go. Next, we're having a look at the left-hand side of the Orc and Goblin deployment. Big unit of Black Orcs, some Trolls, like a couple of Trolls, a Giant, and a unit of Savage Orc Boy Biggins on the hill, so that's going to be hilarious. Next, you've got the Doom Wheel deployed on the right-hand side flank. Amy's plan here was to send it right around the forest. Apparently, with forests, you can move through them normally, just without any danger. I think what you've got to do is roll to see what type of forest it is. For this game, we just assume it's a normal forest that you can move through without any danger. And you can see Amy in the background there contemplating how much damage she's going to inflict with her Doom Wheel there. Night Runners right in front of the forest because they can now move through without penalty, apparently. And Rat Ogre is able to move around it without too much worry about frenzy. They can use the general's leadership to try and restrain their frenzy if the Orcs and Goblins try to bait them. But not too much to worry about there. Quite a good photo. The Doom Wheel, as you can see, I've painted the interior. I have yet to actually put the base on it yet, so that's going to be something I'll be working on in coming weeks. Cool photo. Next picture, keep calling it the Doom Bell or the Screaming Wheel. It's actually the Screaming Bell deployed on the hill here, right behind the slaves, looking to, obviously Amy's plan here is to sacrifice all the slaves and rats, and then come crushing in at the last minute with the Doom Bell, the Screaming Bell, and to destroy everybody. Really enjoying the way that the source lighting's working at the moment. Obviously, we've got a lot more work to do on the bell, more highlights, more painting around the back. But it's good to see this unit on the field. The models actually in the unit pushing the bell are 27 clan rats, and they're all in various different states of painting. Some of them are from the Blood Bowl kit, some of them are from the classics Clan Rat and Storm Vermin kits, and some of them are Plague Monks just converted with shields to look like clan rats. So it's a bit of a mishmash, but quite enjoying that unit nonetheless. It's got an attached warp fire thrower as well. Next picture shows you the left-hand side, or what's going on here with the Skaven. I've got the Center Bearers nearby to the Plague Monks to get their rank bonus, and that's a unit of Clan Rats in front of them, which is actually meant to count as slaves for this game only. Might be using them as actual Clan Rats further down the track when change the army around a bit. So that's it, ready to go. And if you go to the next photo, Skaven have won the roll for the first turn and have taken it. Looks like the Doom Wheel picking up just enough movement to move around the forest, but not quite enough to get in range of its lightning gun. So, attempting to restrain that and successfully restraining it from shooting against the Night Runners nearby. The Gutter Runners have moved right out in front of the Giant, just to really get in the way and bait those units moving forward, and also to release the fanatics from the Night Goblin unit nearby. So that's kind of a preemptive thing there, so they don't go hurling straight into the Red Ogre straight away. But as you can see here, full speed ahead. The giant rats and the Night Runners and the ogres are slightly further forward than the rest of the army because they have a higher movement speed. Marching has remained unchanged in 8th edition, thank God, so it's pretty straightforward there. If you guys look really carefully, you can actually see a skeleton archer at the back of that slaves unit to the right, because we didn't have enough models to represent the 20 slaves there. I think I'm missing a model in the box or something like that. Anyway, looking good. Next photo shows you the gutter runners out in the open. And those guys caused the fanatics to be released, causing minimal damage. What happened here is that several wounds were inflicted to the gutter runners, but I think Amy rolled like 3 6s to dodge them, and the gutter runners have a 6+ ward save for dodging, which was pretty crazy. So those guys managed to stick around after that little clobbering from the fanatics. Haven't got a photo here showing the fanatic moving out though. Next image on the other side of the battlefield, we've progressed a couple of turns. And this is what happens after Orc and Goblin turn 1. Orc and Goblin turn 1 wasn't really that eventful. There were no real serious charges. But the Savage Orc Ball Boys in the right-hand flank have moved out, and there's been a counter-charge here by the Censer Bearers. And this combat was really brutal. What actually happened is that most of the Ball Boys failed their toughness test for the Censer Fumes and so forth, and died. So the Censer Bearers really mopped them up, being of a higher weapon skill higher initiative than the Ball Boys, and being frenzied totally cleaned them up. Interesting point to note is that with initiative these days, it works a bit differently because you don't get to strike first if you charge, and also the boars don't get frenzy from Savage Orcs and so forth. So that's actually kind of cool for the Censer Bearers, being able to just mow down the boars without any fear of being hit by double strength 5 attacks from the boars if they survive. And in the background, battle has joined. So we're going to go to the next image where you can see a lot of action happening. And this is where 8th edition starts to become interesting, because units that have more ranks than the enemy are stubborn. To use the term from the previous edition, it's now called steadfast. We've got one fanatic swirling around and crushing through the slaves there against the Night Goblins. We've got Savage Orcs against slaves, Black Orcs against slaves, Trolls in the background against rats, and way in the background, Giant against Rat Ogres. Fanatics just whirling around the battlefield, and this is a great classic game of Warhammer. Skaven versus Orcs, a bit of background to this. I mean, obviously Skaven are the bad guys, so are the Orcs, and they're so often in each other's territory, just competing to see who gets to attack the Dwarves next or Empire next, and there are inevitably going to be lots of fights. So this is a typical Orcs and Goblins versus Skaven brawl, right pictured here. Next image shows you the Giant in combat with the Rat Ogres. The Rat Ogres have been really ripping into him, doing 3 wounds with their higher initiative, but the Giant slams back, brings his club down on the head of one of them, killing him outright, and sticking around with his steadfast or stubborn rule. In the background there, Amy's decided to cast Death Frenzy, kind of prematurely on the Clan Rats there, but Death Frenzy will really come in handy when they get into combat. They're rattling gun, ready to just gun down a fanatic whenever the opportunity arises. So that's quite cool. But that action going on the middle will last some time because of the ranks there. The Doom Rocket has gone off and wiped out a lot of Black Orcs previously, so the slaves should be able to hold off against the Black Orcs for a short period of time, and the Giant Rats are likely to beat the Trolls, just given their big bonus there, which is quite cool. Really enjoying this photography. I hope you guys are enjoying this this huge brawling game of 8th that we're having right now. Next picture, what actually happened here is that we had to backtrack because I forgot about the fact that Death Frenzy on these guys would have compelled them to charge. Amy attempted to take a test to restrain them from charging, as you're able to do in the new rules, but failed. So the Clan Rats here, colloquially named Team Cheddar, that's our name for this unit, it's Team Cheddar, have charged the Giant in the flank with Death Frenzy. So that's 3 guys at the front, and Death Frenzy gives you +2 attacks, so